Hey y'all, I'm Sabali. Welcome to our yoga practice for today. Today's practice will be about a 20-minute practice, and we are focusing on the root chakra. The root chakra is responsible for our feeling of security, our feelings of safety, our connection to this physical life experience. The props for today are all optional, but the ones that I have are 2 yoga blocks. I also have in this case, a blanket, a throw, and then of course my yoga mat. I'm also sitting on a cushion, but that's absolutely not required. Again, none of the props are required. The idea is to make this process for you as comfortable as possible. So I encourage you to find a seat so that we can go ahead and get started, whatever's most comfortable for you. And allow yourself to kind of just gaze around your space, eyes open, of course, just taking a look at where you are in space. Because the root chakra is about feeling your connection to the physical life experience, we want to start to just observe our bodies, notice where we are in space, and then making any kind of corrections that you feel like are beneficial for you. So you might want to sit up a little bit more straight or bring your legs out a little further in front of you, whatever feels good in your body. At this time, we'll begin to bring our focus inward a little bit more, noticing our breath. Maybe you want to begin to close your eyes or lower your gaze here. As we get started, I encourage you to breathe at a pace that feels natural and good in your body, focusing on breathing in toward the root chakra. And our exhales, we're allowing them to be as full and complete as possible, getting out all of the stale breath. Just notice your inhales and exhales, not making any changes unless you feel like it feels good to you. From here, we'll go ahead and set an intention, or maybe you want to use an affirmation or even a dedication for the practice. If nothing is coming up for you, that's okay. You can feel free to use the class intention. I am open to receiving. I am open to receiving. Let's go ahead and take an inhale, bringing our arms out and up. Palms together, hands to third eye. Exhale. Sealing your intention. Feel free to bring your hands to heart center now. Just again, noticing where your body is sitting in space, pushing your palms together firmly. And breathe. Let's go ahead and make our way up to a mountain pose at the top of our mat, or the back of your mat, or wherever feels good to you. So for this pose, we'll start off by kind of bringing your feet hip distance apart. Start there. And press your feet down into the surface below you, spreading your toes out wide and noticing this kind of 4 parts to the bottom of your foot. And when you're visualizing these 4 parts, try to anchor those into the mat or the surface below you. From here, go ahead and start to squeeze just a bit. Tighten your muscles around those bones, pressing your feet down into the mat. Feel that gentle squeeze as your knees raise, the tops of your thighs. You can feel them having a little bit more security. Focus in especially on the root chakra. Relaxing through the back body. Bringing your shoulders up by your ears, back and down your back. And then you can place your palms either directly in towards your legs or towards the front, whichever feels good to you. Alternatively, you can also bring a blanket just so you can have a little bit more cushion for your heels. I know some people struggle with feeling that kind of tension in their heels. Find wherever space feels good to you and just again notice. Bring your chin in just slightly, not down, but in and back. Now take an inhale, bring your arms out and up. Keep them spread apart nice and wide to help the shoulders relax down the back. And breathe. Aim for closed mouth inhales and closed mouth exhales and see what that does in your body. Bring your palms together and hands down through heart center and by your side once again. Feel free to rock a little forward and back. Find that adjustment. If right under your hip points doesn't feel so great, spread your feet a little bit further apart. And now notice, what does that do in your body? Inhale again, arms out and up, reach up. Let's go for a forward fold now. There's variations to this as well. You can come here, bringing your back straight if that feels good for you. Feel free to bend into your knees as much as feels good. And from here, you can continue down, bringing your hands toward the mat. They can land above or below your knee if that feels good to you. Or maybe pressing them down into the mat in front of you feels even better. Here, I encourage you to be mindful of that root chakra. Also, your midsection. Go ahead and give a little squeeze so that you can protect your lower back. If you do have your blocks, this is a wonderful place to add those in front of you. And again, notice. Notice where your body is in space. Where does your breathing go in this position? Here again, does it feel better to spread your feet apart and get a little bit deeper into maybe that hip region? Forward fold. If you do have your blocks, I encourage you to take one and press it a little back behind your feet and kind of in the middle of your feet. From here, we're going to sink our hips down. Maybe you want to bring your feet a little farther apart, toes facing forward. And you can sit right on that block. If your heels don't touch the floor, you can grab your blanket. Bring your palms in together and press them into your knees, your arms into your knees, while pressing your knees into your arms for a nice sense of stability here. Alternatively, you can do this pose from sitting all the way down, bringing one foot in front of the other, a little bit at an angle. Let me show you this way. It's a little bit at an angle. And still bringing those palms together, pressing your elbows out. That's just another variation of this pose. From here, I encourage you to breathe and notice. Deep inhales all the way down to your belly. And slow exhales Bring your palms down to the floor. Bring your feet together. Roll up to standing, back to mountain pose once again. Exhaling, hands to your sides. From here, we'll take a big step back with your right foot, keeping your heel up off the ground. Or if you want to press it down into the mat, you'll keep your right toes at about a 45-degree angle. Allow your hip to open up on the right side and aim forward on the left. You can sink down a little bit deeper into this pose by bringing the top of the left thigh more parallel with the mat and bringing your arms up here. Again, aiming towards your chest as well as your hips to face directly in front of you. Again, arms wide so that the shoulders are relaxed down your back. No matter where you are, take a deep breath. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more inhale. Exhale. On the next inhale, we'll bring our feet together, stepping up. Hands to heart center, then down at your sides. Step back with the left foot. Again, we have options. You can keep your heel up just like this, or you can find your way to a 45-degree angle toward the front and sink down into that right leg. Inhale, hands up, nice and wide. Just again noticing, where does your body go in this position? Do you have maybe a little tilt toward the back that you want to kind of bring more toward the front into a stable position so that your head, heart, and pelvis are all in one line? Does that feel a little bit better for you? Inhale, arms up. Breathe here. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, stepping forward, bringing your right and left foot right next to each other, palms together, hands at heart center. Now let's work into tree for just a moment. So go ahead and shake out your legs. You can turn toward the front of your mat, or side of your mat. That feels good to you. From here, we're going to press our right foot into the mat, bringing our toes wide apart as much as possible. Now, again, remember we talked about feeling as if there are 4 parts to the bottom of your foot: top, bottom, left, and right. And just picture that. So can you anchor your foot toward the mat? Your right foot toward the mat. Left, right, top and bottom situation. Now shift your weight so that you can feel it almost to the point where you can bring your left foot all the way off the mat. Just noticing where your weight shifts. Again, root chakra, we want to make sure that we have this nice, not a tight pull, but just a nice bracing of your center so that it helps you keep your balance a little bit better. Okay, maybe bring your left foot off the mat, balance just a little bit, and then let that go. Shake it out, shake it out, shake it out. Now for the other side, left foot, again, spreading those toes as wide apart as possible. Feeling the 4 corners of your foot, press down to the mat. lean your weight into your left foot. You can do this on a wall too if that feels a little bit better for you. And just, again, notice. All right, let that one go. This time we're going to do the same thing on the right, but we have the option here to bring our right hand to our hip, and our left foot will either press our toes down into the mat or surface below you, your heel resting on your ankle, a little bit higher up your leg, or all the way toward your groin area. Okay, tongue twister. And then from there, you can also bring your hands to heart center. Grab yourself a chair or a wall if that gives you a little bit more sense of security, okay? Excuse me. Alternatively, you can grab a block. This is one of my favorite things to do, you guys. And you could just prop your foot right there. That feels nice and stable to me. I still have my right foot pressing down into the mat. I still have like this sense of pulling my leg muscles in toward my bones. Still have this sense of stability within my core. Nice straight line all the way up the right side of my body. And then your hands can really go anywhere that feels good to you. But this feels good, and this is a tree pose. Very good. All right. You can either continue to play on that side for a couple more minutes or switch it over. Same thing on the left. Four corners, nice wide toes, pressing down. Feeling my weight shift towards my left side. Bringing those muscles to hug on my bones just a little bit. Nice strong sensation through my core. It's not painful. I'm not trying to suck in anything. Just bring it together so that we feel a stability in the core and lower back, which is part of the core, but okay. And then if you have your block, you can do a number like this. If you don't, that's okay too. You can just keep your toes pressing, right toes pressing into the mat. How does that feel? And again, you can do anything you want with your arms, whatever feels good to you. That feels good to you. I'm not pressing on my knee. I know some people have knee issues. I'm not pressing on my knee. I'm above it with this heel, okay? So you have to know your own body as far as that's concerned. And if something doesn't feel good, make an adjustment. This is not a race. This is not a contest. It's just an opportunity for you to connect with you. All right. You can try it on the left side. And once you get done, make sure to shake it out. You're doing the work. Good job. Good job. Good job. All right. I'm moving these blocks to the side because we're going to come down on our backs next. If sitting or laying down feels uncomfortable for you, I also have a bolster. But you can use a bolster. You can use your blanket that we had from earlier to try to give yourself a bit more cushion in the back, if that feels good to you. So we're heading into a bridge pose. There's many ways that this pose can be done. When I'm first laying down, I want to tilt my hips up toward the sky so that I'm getting a nice connection, giving myself like a nice flat back here. And so I'm tilting through the pelvis a bit. One variation for this pose is to just bring your hands beside you and pressed into the mat. Bridge pose. Okay. One of my favorite variations of this pose is your block towards your sacrum. So it's not necessarily on my lower back because that kind of feels uncomfortable for some people. Oh, and your feet should be like on some railroad tracks. Think again as if they are parallel coming from your hip points. So a little bit closer together than you might think. Pressing down. I still have a lift and tilt through the pelvis area, activating my root chakra. A third option for this, let me get reset. Third option for this is to bring your feet in a little bit more toward the bottom, and you will press the toes and feet down into the mats. And as you begin to tilt through that mid body section, you'll also begin to raise up. You can keep your hands down at your sides or bring them together in a bind. And then you can let that go, rolling down one vertebrae-ish at a time. So you can play in that position as well for a couple more, whatever feels the best for you. And then from there, I encourage you to turn to your right side, sit up, and we're going to go into child's pose here. Bringing your knees together, feet together, kind of zipped up, nice and close. Alternative, you have your block. You can sit on your block. From here, you can also release your head toward the mat, bringing your palms up toward the sky and behind you. This feels really good to me. Like if I have some kind of sinus issues going on, I lay the top of my forehead right on the block and just kind of move my neck just a little bit left to right, and it provides enough counter pressure that it relieves some of that. So you can come down like this and breathe again, breathe. Or you can bring your legs wide apart, your knees wide apart. Toes, big toes pressing together but not overlapping, and release down with your head toward the mat. Your hands can stretch out in front of you, palms pressing into the mat, and breathe. In this pose, I encourage you to revisit your original intention or affirmation or dedication. Begin to give yourself some appreciation for coming to practice today. Let's find our way to a seat with our legs out in front of us. I encourage you to move the fleshy parts out of the way so that you can really feel your sits bones pressing down into the mat. Sitting up nice and tall. Your legs can be a little bit closer together or wider apart. I know doing a little move with my belly sometimes because my pants are tight. Sometimes that gives me a little bit more space, makes me feel a little bit better, more comfortable. From here, you can bring your hands behind your ears and all the way up to the sky. And you can fold over towards your toes. Your toes are going to point back toward your face. Sometimes you'll be here. This is still a forward fold. Here, with your palms on your shins, still a forward fold. Sometimes you may want to take a yoga block, put it right between your feet. A little bit closer feels good. Still a forward fold. Make this work for your body. Make this comfortable for you. You're worth that, okay? This is your practice. Breathe here. Now we're going to bring our knees up, feet more flat on the floor or ground or yoga mat. And from here, just allow your top half to kind of drape over your knees, giving yourself again a little bit more encouragement and gratitude for showing up today. From here, you can scoot your bottom toward your heels and lay flat on your back if that feels accessible for you today. Bringing your legs out with the soles of your feet away from you. If that's not accessible for you, you can just sit in a nice seated position. It's our time for Shavasana, which is a corpse pose, our final resting pose. I'll just give you a couple minutes of silence to gather your thoughts, coming back into your body. Begin to come back into your body. Noticing your fingers and toes, maybe you'll wiggle them. Arms and legs, top half of your body and bottom half. If you are laying down, go ahead and find your way to the right side of your body. Maybe you'll feel yourself into kind of a fetal position and then find your way to a seated position from there. Let's go ahead and close by bringing our arms out and up, reaching up. Palms together, hands to third eye, then to heart center. Thank you so much for joining me in this root chakra focused practice. I hope you were able to find your way into some new shapes that maybe you haven't tried before. You can always come back to this practice anytime you feel the need to find your way into a grounding and find your way back into appreciating your physical life experience. As always, you deserve everything you desire and you are so worthy of every good thing. We'll go ahead and bow together, giving honor for yourself, for others, for all of life's experience. Ashe.